Hi, you're on Bible Answers.
Hi, Pastor. I am reading in the book of Luke, and I had a question regarding Luke 13:30. The verse that says, "And behold, there are last which shall be first, and there are first which shall be last." Can you explain that in more detail for me?
All right. Okay.
I don't know if you want to go back.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to verse
further.
22
Okay.
just to give us a kind of some context.
Okay.
So this is Luke 13, starting with verse 22. And he went through the cities and villages, teaching and journeying towards Jerusalem. Then said one unto him, Lord, are there few that be saved? And he said unto them, Strive ye to enter in the strait gate. For many, I say unto you, will seek to enter in, and shall not be able. When once the master of the house is risen up and has shut the door, he began to stand without and knock at the door, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. And he shall answer and say unto you, I know not whence ye are. Then shall ye begin to say, We have eaten and drunk in thy presence, and thou hast taught in our streets. But he shall say, I tell you, I know not whence ye are. Depart from me, all ye workers of iniquity. And there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And ye shall see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom, and you yourselves thrust out. And they shall come from the east, from the west, from the north, and from the south, and shall sit down in the kingdom of God. And behold, there are last which shall be first, and first which shall be last. All right, let's talk about that for a minute. Who is he talking to here?
I guess the Jews.
The Jews. The Pharisees particularly, but the Jews, yes.
Okay.
And now the Jewish mindset was what about getting into the kingdom of God? Compared to the Gentiles.
I'm not sure how to answer that
Okay,
question.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm sorry. The Jewish folks said, "Hey, I'm a child of Abraham. I'm going to be in the kingdom of God." And then they would look, let's say, on their Roman counterparts, their oppressors, and the other, what they would call Gentile dogs, and they would say, these guys aren't going to make it. You see, because I'm privileged. I am of the lineage of Abraham, and I keep the law, and I do all these things, and I ate in the presence of Jesus, and Jesus taught in our streets, and so I was with you, so of course I'm going to make it. You with me?
Yes.
So they proclaimed themselves to be first because they see all the external reasons why they would be, the best thing since sliced bread. You with me?
Mm-hmm.
But then, where it says, they shall come, or ye shall see Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the prophets in the kingdom of God, and ye yourselves thrust out, saying, look at, you say because you are of their lineage, you're going to get in. No, you're going to watch Abraham and Isaac and all those guys, the patriarchs, in the kingdom of heaven. You're going to be thrust out. And then it goes on and it says there are going to be people from the north, the south, the east, and the west. What is that? Those are folks that aren't even Jews necessarily.
Gentiles.
Right. From all over the world. And you're going to see them get in and not you. Now, in the Jewish mentality, they're dogs. They're the least. They have nothing to offer. But now God's mentality throws the Jewish mentality on its ear to say, no, you know what? What matters is what they did with my son Jesus, not the standing that they had or the external compliance you seem to boast. That's the last is first and the first is last. Does that make sense?
I guess. So when it says there are last which shall be first, meaning the last.
There are folks that in the Jewish mentality would be held to be the least or the last or
Okay.
the furthest away from God.
Okay.
But God says, no, these guys are the closest to me. And they considered themselves to be the first, the closest to God because of their heritage. And God says, you guys are the last. You won't even make it.
So the last will be like least, you said?
Yeah.
In the kingdom of God. So the first ones who were of Abraham's seed, all that will be in heaven because...
No, the first ones which are not Abraham's seed. The first are last, and the last will be first.
Okay.
The last, watch me.
The
The last. Think about it this way. If you were to pick a team, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You pick the good people first,
Okay.
and the people that have two left feet, you pick them last because they're the only ones left.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, you seem to be stuck on the first and last. So,
Yes.
so in their evaluation,
Okay.
they would think in the Jews' evaluation they would think that the first to be picked, if you will,
Okay.
would be the children of Abraham, the physical seed of Abraham.
Okay.
The guys who are externally compliant. I mean, they do all the feast days and they do all these other things. They are the first to be picked. If God were to pick, he would choose me. You know, if he's going to choose people to go into the kingdom, I'm going to be chosen first.
Okay.
The people that would be last would be the Gentile dogs from all over the place that are not even connected to Jerusalem, and they really haven't been exposed to the law, and they certainly don't, they probably actually eat meat and cheese out of the same dish. Could you imagine that? Kind of thing. And so they would value them to be the least. God says, no, I'm going to value them to be the first and you to be the last.
Okay.
Am I making sense now?
I think so. I guess the last part of the verse too kind of trips me up, and it says, "And there are first which shall be last." So the first meaning Abraham's seed.
Right.
They'll either be last or they won't even get into heaven.
Again, you need to last being least valued.
Okay, least valued. Okay. Okay.
And it gets a little funky because the Greek construction in the brought out into the English, it seems like there ought to be some words supplied here, but there are not.
Okay.
So, and when it says there are first which shall be last, there are first people which will be the last people.
Or least valued.
Or least valued, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Or last chosen.
Last chosen.
If you were to, again, if you were picking a team, you'd
Okay.
pick the first or you'd pick the last.
Okay.
And I guess that's the best way to explain it. Am I making sense?
Yes.